Can you hear me? This didn't happen. I've done 2 streams on the other channel. Not a bother. Hasn't went off without a hitch. As soon as I come here, everything goes to crap. And the trailer's still playing in the background, so I don't actually know if you can actually hear me. Because it's still playing in the background here. So yeah, apparently everybody can hear me. All right, well, seriously, done 2 streams over on my Man United channel without a hitch. Nothing, no technical difficulties, nothing. As soon as I do one here, everything just goes to crap. So there's something going on, and I don't know what it is, but it's weird. But anyway, welcome to the Noel Zone, and we are here, obviously, with our 2 regular panelists. So without in good form, I don't want to be in bad form, so we'll just forget about the little glitch. But I look like a fucking idiot when I'm just sitting there, like, because I don't know whether you can hear me or not, and it's very frustrating. But anyway, let's bring on our panelists. I'm pretty sure we'll have plenty to talk about that will keep you entertained. So let's start with the one and only Queen, Charlotte.
Hello, everybody.
Any second, she decides to, there she is.
Hello.
Unbelievable. Right. Okay, go into his Zen, please. PD Rich is here with us as well.
Hey,
Never StreamYard decides to. Oh, look, he comes up straight away. Not a bother there.
So I've got a camera on. There you go. No camera.
There's
half the data transmission. Third of the data transmission. That's why.
Yeah, I've been using my camera over on the other stream. Not a bother.
There's only one of you. That's why.
So I don't know why it goes all glitchy here, but from now on, whoever comes on the channel, just don't come in until all the trailers out, just to see if that helps, because I don't know whether it's too many people in the studio when I play them or whatever it is, but StreamYard is just not able to hack it on here, but can on the other channel. That's the weird thing.
Because of what PD said, if it's just you, it's less work for it in a sense.
Probably. Yeah. Or could be these AirPods. Because I don't wear the AirPods for the other one, because for the other one, obviously, I'm talking by myself and I don't have people on, so I don't have to listen to what obviously people are saying, so I could talk myself. But I've noticed as well, as soon as I put these in, I start glitching the bits as well. It could be these.
Go back to
I did these, yeah, but I don't want to go back to that because it's too messy. And I thought I'd update. Like, they're decent ones. They're like Samsung ones that came with my phone. Like, they're decent AirPods. Like, shouldn't be having glitches. Anyway, look, I'm going to stop moaning. We're going to moan about other stuff instead. And maybe have a laugh as well. But, yeah, it's been a bit of a strange week. We have the whole thing that happened in Maui. And the conspiracy theorists are already at work. And, you know, I've seen video footage as well that looks pretty convincing. But to the people, I'm out, like, it's awful what's happened there. And, you know, apparently, according to President Biden, the last time I checked, because I can't listen to him, 99 people had passed away, but the death toll, obviously, because it could be higher. And there is a conspiracy that the government is actually covering up the true scale of the disaster. But no matter what, there's a lot of people that have been affected by the fire, a lot of families that have lost loved ones, but not only that, their belongings, their houses, and our thoughts and prayers go out to those people. But it's another look. I just said this to Cheryl today. I said to her a couple of months ago, something big's on the way.
Yep, certainly is.
All of these little things is happening. The problem with this thing that's happened in Maui is that it comes in trays normally, and this is the first of, I believe, 2 more major events that are going to happen because they always do them in trays. There's a lot of symbolism in what they do,
Power
by the
free.
way. People mightn't believe that, but there is. So there's 2 more major incidents, and I think that the second one is actually this COVID iris scam, because they're already talking about, updating the jab. So they want you all to re-jab after getting the first jab. Now, I hope people this time round, even those that got the first jab, have read enough information and have done research since then. And I hope people are a lot smarter this time round, i.e., not getting this, right? You got to look at everything that's been happening around the world. People just dropping like flies. And listen, these are being healthy people as well, right? Just dropping like flies. They can deny it all they want, right? And in Ireland recently, right? You can check this up, it's fact. For apparently a lot of Irish people got vaccinated, right? But apparently for the highest rated vaccinated or something, we have a high mortality rate, more than what we actually should have, because everybody got the. So, all I just say to people is, before you make a decision on getting, do your research. I'm not telling you what to do. At the end of the day, it's freedom of choice. You will make your decision yourselves. But I hope you do the research and you really look into this, and then you will make up your own mind whether it's for you or not. But I reckon that's the second one. And we've been having this talk about aliens. I don't reckon it'll happen yet because it's too soon. But along the line, that'll be part of something major. But something else then is going to happen, because they happen in trays. Not in trays, in threes. Sorry. Irish people, we say trays instead of 3. Sorry. Anyway, we'll leave it there. I don't want to get into this conspiracy, but to the people of Hawaii and Maui, our thoughts and prayers go out to you all. And I'm sorry you have a shitty president that doesn't give a shit about you, but just know that the rest of the world are thinking about you. I know that's not a consolation to you guys over there, but we are thinking about you, and hopefully you are able to get through this. But there's something dodgy going on with that situation, but we won't get into that. But that's me done. As I said, a bit of a strange week. There's been loads of strange things happening, but we won't get into them. But we'll see what Queen Charlotte and PD want to talk about, because we won't keep it all conspiracy theory and all of this stuff, because that's for another stream, isn't it? Anyway, let's see what's been going on with Queen Charlotte and what's been on Queen Charlotte's mind and what she wants to get off her chest. If it's got to do with The Witcher, I'm pretty sure there's plenty she needs to get off her chest. That's just a shit. That's just a shit show. I mean, I've never said. Look, listen, we see Star Trek being ran through the ground recently, but
even though they've just had a musical.
Yeah.
But The Witcher is in all sorts of problems, but she might want to talk about that. It could be something else. So, Queen Charlotte, what is on your mind this week? What would you like?
Actually, mine's not a Witcher thing, because it's gone really silent now, because obviously the season's out and a lot of the fervour of sort of the ending has now died down. Mine's actually to do with a game's come out. I think it was last week actually. Baldur's Gate 3. And it's based, and this is a game that has been technically in development at least for 4 years, probably more, because it was kickstarted. Because the studio behind it, they're like a mid-tier. They're called Larian Studios. So they're not a tiny indie studio, but they're not one of the big boys. So a lot of the time they have to either sort of do very specialist games, or they kickstart their games. They get the fans that trust them to put their money in, and So they've had 4 years of a Kickstarter of sort of early access type of deal with the fans seeing builds, having input, then making changes, and then so it's been a lovely community thing, really, more than anything. And for people who don't know, Baldur's Gate, they're a set of games that were made, quite a long time ago,
Back in the
which were
90s.
based in D&D. So it's based in Dungeons and Dragons world. So it has all the...
I think I know what you're going to talk about. I saw a photograph. Apparently, if I'm correct or something, you can... There's bestiality.
Oh, no, it's not that. There was a bit of furore about that. I'm not talking about that.
Right.
I think, personally, the stuff about the character creation, D&D is meant for you to play who you want, be who you want. If you want to play a bloke and you're a woman as your character, you can create a bloke character. Yeah. So the whole furore about the character creation, which was incredibly open, it had that freedom in it that you could have a female character with a bloke's voice. I was just like, what's the issue? D&D is the tabletop version is all about imagination. It's all about creating your own character. So, of course...
if it's something they've always done and it's in their DNA, it shouldn't be an issue,
Yeah, it's part of the tabletop experience. So they've obviously translated it into the game, and certain people started decrying it as politics. And it's like, no, it's not. It's part of D&D. So this game has been developing for a long time. The fans have been backing it, been helping the Larian make it, and it came out, and it's came out to incredibly good reviews. It's like on Metacritic, it's like up there with some of the best games that's been released this year, like Zelda, like some of the big Game of the Year type games. It's got the same score on Metacritic as. The user review is just as positive, which is a rarity, as the critics. And it's just getting universal sort of applause because the writing and the choices and the freedom is such an impart. Like you can watch there's different people play this game and they'll have completely different choices. And that will affect the story. Like I said, it's D&D. It's this idea of you steer the story. So it's come out and it's brilliant for Larian because, like I said, they're a mid-tier. They're sort of the underdog a lot of the time. They've been working so long on this game. They've been wanting to make a game in this world because they even went to Wizards, who are the rights holders, about 10 years ago, and they got told, no, we don't want you to make a game. But then after they'd made some other good games, Wizards actually came to them and was like, do you know you wanted to make a game 10 years ago? We're going to give you the license now. So it's such a good story. But do you know what's been interesting this week? Certain parts of the gaming industry have decided to say, oh, no, don't expect this from us. Don't expect this level of writing from us. We can't do this. Larian's, this shouldn't be your standard. That's the way it's been said. Like this, don't expect this game to become the new standard for RPGs.
Right.
And it's just the arrogance of parts of the gaming industry to basically, they've got a brilliant story. Yeah, they've basically sort of put the nose up to it, and they're like saying, well, they're special. I mean, like they're trying to like make it out like there's so many circumstances which made only this game be able to get this well reviewed and this well received by the fan base that it's sort of meant for. And I just find it like, I don't get it, because there's been a few other times in the gaming industry where games from either other countries or different developers have done really well. And they basically had a go and tried to demean it. And I just find that incredible.
Yeah, but games like that that always, do something slightly different, or, as you said, have a story like that. I have noticed there is an arrogance, because I play a lot of games myself, so I'm kind of in tune with the game. I just don't talk about it, but I do play a lot of games, so I do be fascinated by everything that goes on in the industry. But you are right, there always has been this arrogance when a new thing comes along, a lot of people just want to knock it down because it is something. I think it's jealousy, really, because
Yep.
if you think about it, a lot of these companies are trying to think of innovative ways of doing things, and then a small little company comes along and does something like that. I think there is jealousy there. There's a lot of these bigger companies. Well, why didn't we think of something like that? You know what I mean? Because you would expect that from the big guys. But you look at the smaller companies, even on mobile phones now, you go to the Play Store, look at all the little developers and some of the games on it. Yeah, not all of them are great, but so you get some excellent games on that. Like, they're really good. Like, so, I mean, I think there's room for everybody in the industry, and there's different genres out there. There's different genres to satisfy everybody.
Yep.
We don't just play certain genres anyway. We all bounce out of different ones, and we have favorites and stuff, favorite franchises as well. But there is this art. I know but you're gonna get that, and it's always going to be there in the gaming industry. But maybe it's a wake up call now for these bigger companies. You know what I mean? So it helps. I think it helps these smaller companies doing that, Charlotte, because then because the bigger companies then have to up their game. Remember when it was just Nintendo? Well, obviously, I remember, but Nintendo was the big cheese. But then you had Sega come along, and then Nintendo, PlayStation come along. Then later on, then all of a sudden, then there was more competition, but the bigger boys then had to try up their game. They didn't always succeed, but most of the time they'd win out. You know what I mean? And Nintendo's still going strong today. So I mean, they're just a bit shitty the way they do. They kind of treat fans, I've got to say, like with their copyright nonsense. I mean, come on, Nintendo, give us a break. We love your bleeding games. I've grown up with them all my life. Like, seriously, I remember when I got me Nintendo, it was the greatest thing. Even the smell of it, I swear to God, I could just remember that as a kid. I remember playing Super Mario for the first time, and then the Super Nintendo came out, but we couldn't afford it. But we got lucky one Christmas because one of our neighbors, and I'll never forget this. I have to be honest, I will never forget this. It was the greatest Christmas present I ever got. But a neighbor's son had got one for Christmas, but then one of the other family members, because he'd mentioned it in passing, got one, right?
So they had two.
They came down to me on Christmas Day because I was devastated. My mom and dad knew how much I wanted it. You just couldn't afford because there was other kids in the house. But they got me all the other stuff that they could get me. But I was kind of a bit down that Christmas. Till a knock came to the door. And then all of a sudden, all I just hear is there's talking and whispering at the door. And the neighbor comes in and hands me a brown box. And I open it up, and there was over 20 games and the Super Nintendo. Super Mario All Stars. I got Super Mario All Stars as well, and Wipeout, I think it was called, and other games.
F-Zero.
And I swear, man, seriously. Still to this day, I've got all the PlayStations and all. I've even had an Xbox, but see those two? They were the two that started me on my gaming journey, right?
Well, Nintendo was mine as well. Obviously, it wasn't. Mine was the Game Boy.
And Sega did have, Game Boy as well. But Sega had a handheld a few years ago that I got. It was the game, that's the one. And he had a Sonic the Hedgehog game on it, which was hard to fucking... You got stuck on this level all the bleeding time. You jumped over and you couldn't get up once you fell down this blade. I just couldn't get up, man. Right? I could never clear this game. But I remember I got a lend of that for about a month, because that's what the people used to do. Yeah, it was great, like, growing up. But see that Nintendo, and then when I got that Super Nintendo, oh my God. Seriously, best. No, I'm not lying. That I was just mesmerized. And then playing Mario, and then Mario 2 for the first time, and then Super Mario Brothers 3, which Super Mario Brothers 3 just blew me away. And still to this day, that game, I don't care what anybody says, right? And I'll fight everybody with it. I'll debate this until the end of time. But to me, that is still Super Mario 3 is still the ultimate Super Mario game. Still to this day, it is never been surpassed, in my opinion. Games have come close to it, but that game in itself is one of the best games you will ever play. Still to this day, it's rock hard. Still rock hard. I have the little mini Nintendo. I have it there, right? I've got frustrated in the water world. I don't like to do the cheats, but I know all the cheats to get the whistles to get to the end. But I like to play the game through. I get to the water world. I can clear the other world, which is rock hard, but see the water world with the flying fish going everywhere and all that. Ah, gee, don't get me started, man. But they're my memories, man. And that's what gaming's all about. And this is what, you know what I hate about the gaming industry? It's an industry. It's commercial. It's all about that. Look at, you've seen it yourself, Charlie. You've played modern games like a PD. I'm not. Do you play games? I never asked you. Like, actually,
I'm a PC gamer.
PC. But you could do cross-gen now. You can actually do cross-gen. You can have people on PC now play as well. It's brilliant.
Well, a lot of stuff is just coming across to all consoles and PCs now.
But you know what it's like, Charlotte. You know what it's like, PD. You buy a game now, right? I go out, for example, FIFA 23. I go out and buy FIFA 23, right? Brand new game, right? Not a bother. Put it in. Needs to be updated, right? Fair enough, right? Yeah. Loads on, right? Needs to be updated then when the disc comes on, right? Blah blah blah. You do that. You play the game. It's broken, right? Right? There's bugs.
Straight out the box.
There's issues, right? And then EA will announce, "Oh yeah, we know the game is fucked, but we'll do it. We'll do an update soon. Don't worry, we'll fix the issues." So then they do the update, right? Then they fix the issues that they had. But then when they fix those issues, it creates new bugs in the game. So all year round, when you buy a game now, all year round, you've noticed that your games need to be updated every time. This is what I love about old games. There was none of that bollocks, man. No. None of that crap. And you could just play a game.
And that's what
the commercial. Just one more point. I know you want to get in, but what I most hate about the gaming industry is the fact that it is commercial. There's no heart in it anymore. It's all about making money, and they'll throw out a broken product like they did with that cyberpunk shit as well, right? They just don't care about gamers anymore, which is a shame. Back in the day when I was growing up, they cared. They always tried to one-up each other. Company would bring out a game, they'd say, right, what can we do that makes our game stand out better than theirs? And they'd go and fucking do it. Then they would say, oh, geez, we need to better that. And then they'd come out with another game. That's how it worked. But now it's just, they don't care what they throw out. Listen, there's a game on the fucking PlayStation Store, right? It's called Bread, right? It's about a slice of bread in a can. I'm saying no more, but Queen Charlotte wanted to say something. Go ahead, Queen Charlotte.
No, that's what I was going to say, though. It's the thing is with the gaming industry, like, you're right. It needs to have these sort of middle-tier people come and do these incredible games or these really good experiences. And the thing is with Baldur's Gate 3, there's one thing that you could... Then, yes, of course, there's stuff unique to it because, like I said, you literally roll a dice for some parts to decide, like in Dungeons and Dragons. This sort of idea of you sort of steering the narrative is something that's a lot more of a Dungeons and D&D thing to do. So not all games, but all games who have got any sort of RP in or any sort of story, that's a universal trait. So you can even just... So them now trying to sort of cry wolf, say, no, this situation's a unique entity and don't expect it from anybody else. It's like, no, you can all look at this game at least on a story level and look at the writing, the basic writing of the characters, of some of the story beats, the sort of main structure, the stuff that you obviously can't affect. And that's what's got people impressed. Because I love role RPGs. That's always been my choice of games.
Same.
But I've
Love them.
noticed the writing has for the last good amount of years has gotten weaker in RPGs. The characters are nowhere near, if you compare it to the early 2000s and earlier when you got some RPGs, you cared about those characters.
Do you know why it is though, Charlotte? It's because they concentrate more on, instead of concentrating on the main game and giving you what you love about RPGs, what they're doing is they're concentrating more on the online and what people can spend in the store and stuff like that. Call of Duty is a perfect example of games that franchise has declined so much. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's dire now. But that's what happened. They all focus on this battle pass shit and this online crap. So the games suffer. I mean, this is why I still love playing games like, you know, the Elder Scrolls and those other games. Like, they're brilliant. Like, you know what I mean? Because there's talk on into the stories.
Because they're allowed to be RPGs. That's what you're saying, isn't it? That's why I do think, and this isn't a universal trait, because I said, you've still got CD Projekt Red, who did the Witcher games, you've got Larian, you've got some other studios in the West who can do brilliant RPGs. But this is why I think sometimes Japan has got the edge, because they still care a hell of a lot about their stories and characters.
They've got soul.
Sorry, Piddy?
They've got soul, putting it very bluntly.
Yeah,
That's what I always love about Japanese games.
You can tell there's more of a focus of, let's just tell a really good story.
That's it.
And like because Japanese games tend to fall into, especially if it's an RPG, here's your main character that you create or control, here's the group around them. Like that sort of party setup. It's just what Japanese games do really well.
Yeah.
Do you know what's embarrassing? Do you know what's embarrassing, right? People will slate me for this, but it's so fucking true. And I was addicted to this game, so I know, right? And I've played both, by the way. And I'm a fan of the COD franchise. But this is how bad it's gone for the COD franchise, right? Is that Fortnite has better stories in their games than Call of Duty has now. Right? Call of Duty has gone to the online. The biggest mistake, I suppose, these companies made was trying to copy what other games were doing. I don't know what the first game was that did the whole battle pass with 100 people in a lobby and fighting each other. I don't know if it was Fortnite or it was another game before that, but whatever game it was, that game actually ruined the gaming industry because they all went that way. Right now, FIFA was doing it a long time as well. When they copped on, they could extort more money out of younger fans, which they've been doing and getting away with for decades, which I think is disgusting. Because if you look at FIFA, essentially, it's a gambling thing. You know what I mean? People are spending money to get these players, these cards. It's all a racket, like, and they've ruined the Call of Duty by doing that, and they've ruined other RPGs by doing that. You know, I hope there's rumors of another Red Dead Redemption. I hate to think.
Rocksteady's Rockstar's one of the ones that still can do very good stories and characters.
They do, though. In fairness to them, they do, and everybody's waiting on that Grand Theft Auto. But actually, talking about it, because I'm glad you brought this up. But here's the thing, actually, the new Grand Theft Auto. Right, I don't know how many people are going to buy it now when they hear this, but apparently young kids will not be able to play this game because when you log into this game and you go to sign up to play for this game, it uses facial recognition.
Oh yeah, heard about this.
Right, so apparently adults who play the game or allow their kids to play the game are going to have to be there to use their face, put the game on for their kids, or you know, they're going to play themselves. But would you trust giving your face? Again, I see this as another form of control. I could be wrong, but these things kind of
No,
normally get abused.
I've got a feeling this is more for years and years and years and years. The gaming industry has been attacked, hasn't it? For all violence in games. I mean, if you play it when you're young, you're going to turn out like that. And for
Well, that's
years,
America.
they've been having to try and fight
Yeah.
that story. So this is probably their way to say, look, we're really making sure now that younger kids can't play this game.
Sorry, Americans, but it's not our fault that your kids are fucked up and they reenact some games that they play. Right? It doesn't happen in the rest of Europe and the rest of the civilized world. Like, man, get a grip on that. We shouldn't be punished. But I don't like the idea of facial recognition. But I can understand Charlotte's point, though. I think it is a valid point. Maybe it is the kind of crack down on younger kids playing the game, but they'll always find a way.
The only thing that's been stopping them is the aging thing. So a game's an 18+, but all that means is the adult, like the parent, buys it and then gives it the kid, and then the kid plays it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and it's kind of a way to make the parents kind of make that choice forcibly. If the child wants to get, then the parent is making that choice. I get where they're coming from with it, but I look, should kids be playing Grand Theft Auto anyway? I mean, you know, my little brother played Grand Theft Auto and loved it. Did he turn out to be a lunatic? No. At the end of the day, for me, it should be left down to the parents anyway. Parents should Grand Theft Auto or Rockstar Games shouldn't have to do this, right?
Yeah.
If parents actually took responsibility for their kids and said no to their kids, didn't want their kids to play the game. If they say yeah, then it's their responsibility then to monitor those kids while they're playing the game, or even join in with their kids. There's nothing wrong with joining in playing. You've seen videos online of parents playing games with their kids, like. You could play games with your kids, but once you're there and saying, look, you do know this is not, when you're playing the game, this is real life now. We don't do this in real life. Like, you know what I mean? You could do stuff like that if you want to expose your kids to that sort of thing. To me, I don't think it does any harm. I grew up watching horrors on an early. In fairness, I don't think it does. I think the politicians, especially in America, they look for excuses and they like to blame the gaming industry. It's not the gaming industry's fault. It's up to parents. Look, if they put, you ask for certifies, you ask for games to be certified, they cooperated and they're certified, right? So if an adult goes out there and buys a game that's over 18 and they give it to their kid, well, then that, in my opinion, then the parent has made that decision, and then the parent should want that child. If the parent doesn't do that, then it is bad parenting. You know, your kids can get radicalized online. It has happened, but it's up to you as a responsible parent. And if parents were responsible and stop leaving decisions to other people to make for them, then we wouldn't have this issue at all.
Exactly.
You'd have much lower rates of, you know, of all of that happening. I honestly do believe, you know, that, you know, American parents now and around the world, they want to be friends with their kids.
That's it.
You know, and that's great. You want to be their best friends. That's great. You want to show them that you're kind, loving parents. That's great. But you know what? Discipline. You know, looking out for their best interests, monitoring what they do online is your responsibility as a parent. It shouldn't be left to schools. It shouldn't be left to the government. It shouldn't be left to the gaming industry. You should be all doing it for yourselves. That's what being a parent is. And I think a lot of parents cop out nowadays. You know, when I was playing even Super Mario growing up, my dad was in the room. He was actually playing as Luigi, right? I play as Mario. He plays Luigi. And we both play, as that game goes, you play a level each and all of that crap, right? And that's what we did, right? And that's what responsible parents do. Parents that care about their kids. And remember, there wasn't online back then. Right?
Yeah.
But still, my dad wanted to be there playing the game because he enjoyed the game as well. But he wanted to be there, play and all that, because there is a bit of crap going on in that game, you know, hatchets and all being thrown at you and all of that stuff. So, but I was glad he was there and played those games with me. But parents need to take a bigger responsibility and stop leaving it to the gaming industry. It's not fair. The gaming industry gets too much stick. Yeah, I'll give them stick for putting out poor product, right? But I'm not going to criticize them because they put out games there that, you know, kids shouldn't really be playing anyway, right? Gaming industry always get. Where about us adults that do like, and adults do like gaming, right? So there are games that are going to be over 18 for us,
Yeah.
right? So what do you want us to do? Do you want us to suffer because parents out there won't do their job and monitor their own kids, what they're doing online, or have safety protocols in place to make sure that they're not doing anything that they shouldn't be doing, or listening to people who they shouldn't be listening to? I mean, come on. It's not even that complicated.
No, and it's like you said, some stories need to have certain themes and certain violence, you could argue, or mature things in it to work. One of my favourite games of all time is The Last of Us 1, because the second one, everything that went wrong could have, but the first one...
Thanks, Anita. Yeah,
thanks, Anita. But that first one, it opens up incredibly harshly, and it takes your breath a bit, the opening of that game, because you think, I'll say spoilers, even though it's been out for God knows how long now.
Oh, I can play that for free if I want to.
Well, I won't say it then, because you might play it, but the opening is devastating. And it's like that on purpose. You can tell they did that, not because they wanted to be try-hard, because for the main character, what event happens in that opening section informs the rest of his character throughout the game. It explains the way he acts for the rest of the game, and it really gives him depth. But if they wouldn't be, but if they were told, "Oh, you can't do that because it's violent," then the whole game wouldn't have worked. So that's what sometimes you need to have these things in games to actually put the point across.
Yeah.
Like some games can be like a Mario or like Pokemon, because that was my first game and my sort of comfort thing. Even though I think it must have been this week, the last couple of Pokemon games have not been good quality. You can tell, because the problem is with Pokemon now, it's a yearly thing. So every year we get a game, and they can't make them the quality
fresh
when they didn't have that 1 year release that Nintendo basically tells them. And you literally had some of the executives in an interview this week come out and say, "Yeah, we know the quality's not been as good." It's like, but you still shipped a game, your last game, which was broken. That's why I literally didn't buy the last Pokemon game, because of how badly it was shipped. Like, literally, things weren't, your file wasn't saving. You could clip out of the world. There were so many, like, not little things. And also, another thing, like quality, when it comes to just as an actual game. The problem is with Pokemon, because, yes, there's a big target for children with those games, but like you said about other games, there's people my age, there's a whole generation that grew up with Pokemon, so we're old and we like to play these games still. So if you make stuff too simple and child friendly, it's just, they're nowhere near as good as they used to be, Pokemon now.
Or they should do two separate franchises within the one franchise, one for kids and one for the older fans like yourself.
Yeah, because they've had spin-offs through the years.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can do that. You can have your slightly younger one, but it's the main line, which everything, like, because my brother plays them as well. It's sort of the thing we both have grown up with and play as like a brother and sister a bit. And we both say, you can literally tell the point when they were like, these games are for children, because everything got simplified then. They didn't care as much about the story, even though Pokemon doesn't need a massive story. That's not the appeal, but it's nice if there's a bit of a nice world, like a bit of characters you can sort of go, they're not a bad character. But everything's just become like everything simplified, kiddified.
Yeah.
Do you
Like,
think? Want to ask you though, because they did have a bit of controversy a few years back when they brought out that what was it, Pokemon Go or something, where you could go out onto the streets
Yeah.
and find Pokemon and stuff, and people were starting to like get hit by cars and get shot and stuff like that because they were trespassing. Do you think maybe after that and all of that stuff started happening worldwide, because there was a lot of incidents, do you think that maybe that's why they went down the route they went down? Because, you know, they did try something different there. And let's be honest, everybody was ranting and raving about that in a good way. I mean, everybody was saying this was something completely unexpected and it was something fresh and new. And then, like, people were dying. You think that's why they just thought then, well, look, we tried something, people start dying, we'll just simplify it now and just leave it for the kids?
No, that you, like I said, it was. I can't. If I think about it more, I could probably tell you, because if you don't know Pokemon, each game's known as a generation. That's how you refer to them, and you can if I let me think, like the first 1 to 4 generations, so the first like 4 main games, they are the best by far because they're so much fuller. The world's a lot more sort of rich. The characters are a bit more rich. And another major thing is there was always a good end game. Like you'd beat the league, which is like the final sort of hurdle in your story type thing. And then they'd always have another whole area you could explore, catch more Pokemon or do something different. Literally after Generation 4, you could no end game after you'd done the final sub story point. It was just like they were cutting down the amount of Pokemon in the games that actually appeared in them. And big thing that that a lot of the fan base is annoyed with for them for years now, this is before the Go thing, is the way Pokemon works. You have a rival. And like for the first 4 generations, they were always really annoying, but in the good way. That sort of, they were there to sort of be this sort of cocky or sort of horrible character to basically go, come on, beat me. I'm your rival. You need to get better. You need to beat me. And that's how they worked. And then after a certain point, you can tell on purpose, oh, they're going to be your friend now. They're not going to be like your sort of traditional rival. They're going to be like, oh, I don't need to battle, or I don't care if I lose. And it's just like, that's not interesting. I want somebody I hate, so then when I beat them, it feels like a victory. Not somebody who's like, oh, isn't it great that we have Pokemon? Yeah. I wanna hate you. So it's like,
Have they dumbed it down because kids are dumber? They say kids are smarter, but they're not. Just because they know how to play with a tablet or work a tablet and a laptop or computer or do all of this doesn't make them actually intelligent. I mean, if you gave them all of an intelligent test and you gave them regular questions, they'd all fail. Like they're dumb because they don't get educated properly. Do you think the reason why is because kids are dumber now and they can't follow a story, or just because you see it in entertainment? Let's be honest, they don't make an effort with stories anymore. It's all about skin color, diversity, the inclusion, all of the LGBTQ plus stuff, the sexualization of characters. Like that's what they care about. They don't actually care about an actual story. So do you think maybe these gaming companies have kind of suffered because of that, and they've just gone along with the current trend of things?
I think it depends from developer to developer. If I'm being honest, some developers, yeah, you can definitely see a focus more on politics. No denying that with gaming. Other times, I think it's who owns them really impacts. Like BioWare is owned by EA, and you can see how much EA's meddling has messed with BioWare, because they used to be known as some of the best RPGs in the West.
Mm.
They did Star Wars: The Old Republic. They did the original, the first Dragon Age, Mass Effect. Like they did
Yep.
some, and then you could see what you were talking about. EA were making them pivot away from RPGs, less story, less
Yeah.
focus. Because I'm not a Mass Effect person, but I'm more of a Dragon Age person because it's fantasy and that's more my thing.
I'm a Mass Effect person. That's fine.
That's what I mean. But that's what was good. They had the two franchise. But
Yep.
the thing is with Dragon Age, what the next game that's now would probably be the fourth game has been in development for about 10 years because EA kept telling them, no, you have to make it like this. And then they realized it didn't work. So they had to scrap all their work and start again.
Yeah.
Because at one point, EA and like insiders have gone to journalists and have talked about this. So this is how we know a bit. They said, yeah, at one point we were basically told you're going to do an online game. Your Dragon Age is going to focus on that. And then they made it. And then they were like, this isn't good. And it's like, yeah, because it's a single player RPG series.
Yeah.
You can't make it into an online multiplayer.
See,
whatever.
that's what EA run a lot of franchises. I mean, people will argue they've
Always
run
have.
for FIFA. But you know, they start. EA was good at one time. You know, they weren't money hungry back in the day, believe it or not. They actually cared about the games that they made. But this whole world of online, you know, being on this open map business is very lucrative for them. Like most games now have an online component nowadays. Very big business. They actually make more online than they do on the actual game itself. Like it's crazy.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's like an afterthought now, isn't it?
yeah, the game they don't care about. They don't. It's a shame, and this is why little gaming companies stand out, because once in a while you'll get a game that comes out that has an absolutely cracking story, and people will gravitate to that game, even if it's a genre that they wouldn't normally play. Players will gravitate to good stories, and I've noticed that a lot more now than ever. And that's a good thing, I think. You know, these big companies need to, you know, start wising up. You know, we're not asking for much, really. Just like we're not asking for much when we watch our favorite movies, TV shows, and characters and stuff like that. You know, just give us good writing, good characters. You know, the stories to get our teeth into, mysteries.
That's
you know,
it.
that's what we want. It's not even that hard. And if the people that you employ are just not up for the job, then get rid of them. Get rid of them. You know, there's smaller gaming companies out there that are doing better jobs. Maybe pick up their staff and learn, you know, give them the position and give them the opportunity to show the world what they can do.
Or just like I said at the beginning, with the whole situation with Larian now, instead of trying to sort of play down the success they've had with Baldur's Gate, or try and like I said, try and almost have a go at them, which is the way it honestly feels like some of the way the other developers have acted. Just realize that you've had a good achievement. You've had a game that's actually beaten the odds, because it is like D&D is a massive thing, but it's still quite a sort of not clicky, it's sort of still seen as a very geeky bit of geekdom, if I can sort of phrase it like that. It's not sort of as much of a mainstream thing. Proper like D&D, not sort of Hollywood version of it, I mean. So it's that, and also it's got a term, this game, because of how you control the fighting. I can't remember the exact thing, but that's been seen as a bit of a geeky thing as well. So this is basically this was a proper underdog type of game, which is now, like I said, it's got scores, which means it will probably be in consideration for Game of the Year. This game, easy. It's going to be up there. It's going to be talked about, and it's just actually learn from this. don't be so defensive. And like you said, they are coming across as jealous, some of the other developers now.
Definitely.
Like, oh, don't expect us to do that. It's like, well, no, I will expect you to do good stories at least. You can't copy everything from this game, but you can copy that tenant. It's because some of you guys have been failing in that. So it's just sort of, and it's the other thing of, it's not a new standard. You don't decide that. The audience does.
Mm-hmm.
We decide what becomes a new standard for us as your customer base. This has happened before. Other games have shown, whether it's when the Batman Arkham games came out, everybody wanted to copy that fighting system because it was responsive, it was new, it was interesting. CD Projekt Red came out with their Witcher games. That's a new standard for open world and how it can feel alive, and how those games you can walk a tiny bit of the world and you'll come across a random event, so it feels real. It's not just here's a load of empty space and then we've got an event which has obviously been planned to keep your interest. That's what the Witcher games do. There's loads of little things all around the world, whether that's a tiny conversation or a fight or a quest. You're always tripping into stuff.
Same Red Dead Redemption, which I consider the greatest one out of the whole lot of them. I mean, you literally, as you said, you'll be on your horse or you'll be walking down, minding your own business, and then some stranger will just pop and you got a little side mission and then follow another. It's great. I love those. It reminds you of the game Heavy Rain as well, where every decision you make has consequences and stuff like that, a negative or a positive consequence, which I like. But yeah, the imagination, they've no imagination now because they got a brief. See, I don't really blame some of the game and developers or the people that work within these places because they're given a brief. As you said, EA, literally bullying these people to do what they want, bow to their will because they're the bigger company, do this. Then they say, oh, we don't like it. A lot of these people are hardworking, genuine, and know which way the franchise should go because they've listened to fans or they know what fans want. But these bigger heads, these corporate heads, are like thinking, right, what's the best way and the quickest way we can make money?
Yeah.
And that's the end game now. And it's sad. It used to be about telling a good story, introducing us to new characters, and giving us a decent game. But they can't, well, I won't say the whole industry because there's still some good games coming out. That's unfair. There's still companies out there that do care about good stories, but the majority of the shit that we get nowadays is rubbish compared to the games we played years ago. I think go as far as to say some of the 80s games and the 90s games I grew up with are better than some of the games that we have today and have stood the test of time as well. But it's a shame. It's not over for the gaming industry. I don't think they're as bad as Hollywood because, whether we like the model or not, this battle pass model, this online model is making them a shit ton of money. I just wish that they would put in as much effort for the online than they did for people that don't want to play online. It's like for me in the FIFA franchise. Like all I want is a decent career mode. And when I play, I don't feel like I'm being screwed by the game because you've scripted to bits and to fix the game so we can have a decent, enjoyable game of football. But you just concentrate on the foot and the online stuff. And all I want them to do is put in the same effort that they do for that to the career mode. And if they did that, I'd be happy, man. I'd be happy. I don't care about the online stuff, but I'd be happy if I still buy the game for career mode. So don't fucking screw us over. Do something for us for a change. Just because you change the menus around every couple of years and you might add a gimmick here and there, that's not good enough. Fans of FIFA, Daniel's in the chat now as well. He'll tell you, fans of FIFA have been telling you for years. Even the pro gamers have been telling you, EA, that your gameplay is broken. But will you listen? No. Oh, here's hyper motion technology now. Look, now we can show you the goalkeeper and the stats and the goalkeeper diving like a real goalkeeper. Nobody gives a shit about that shit. All we care about is a game where we could play against the computer, where it's like a level playing field, you know, and the game obviously does adapt as you get better at the game. I don't mind that shit. But when it's outright scripted and you're winning 2-0, like with 89 minutes to go, and they get a corner and then they score from that, and then you tip off and then they take the ball off you and then score an equaliser, then, you know, I'm going to go mad. Because, you know, I've done nothing all game, and then they go up and do that because you've scripted it. Right? And I said FIFA 23 is my last FIFA. Well, it is the last FIFA because now it's EA Football or whatever the fuck they're calling it now. Stupid name for the
What's
game.
the FIFA
anyway.
license?
Whatever, anyway. No, they broke away. FIFA wanted an extra piece of the pie, and EA are greedy, as we've spoke about. Queen Charlotte knows EA are greedy. And you were like, no, FIFA, nah, we could do. And in fairness, they do have all the game mechanics, and they do have an edge over FIFA. It'll be interesting to see what the FIFA game will look like, but I don't think it will be the EA game for numbers. But this game already looks like a complete and utter disaster and more of the same shit. They still haven't fixed the gameplay. That's it. I don't really care about the graphics. Exactly, man. I don't care about the graphics.
That has been a thing with gaming. The sort of the chase to be the prettiest game. So
who gives a shit? Give me a game with a good fucking story, man. Good characters, and I'll buy your bleeding game. I don't care if something looks pretty. I mean, don't get me wrong. It is great playing games like Assassin's Creed, and you're up on the top of a church steeple, and you're looking all over it. It's fucking beautiful. I will say, same with Red Dead Redemption. They're beautiful. You can make beautiful games, but those games proved you can also write a good story. But if you didn't focus with EA, especially. Everything is graphics with them, these little gimmicks, hypermotion. Nobody gives a fuck about hypermotion, right? All I want is gameplay that actually fucking works, or you won't get another penny at me. It's as simple as that. FIFA 23 will be my last football game.
Yeah, and I think also the gaming industry is probably going to do better compared to Hollywood because Because with Hollywood, the problem is there's not many smaller. I know there is smaller studios, but they're very small compared to the big studios. So it's so much sort of unpacked. Like the power's all with the big studios, barring a couple of odd times and an indie flick to sort of get his head above the parapet. Whereas with games, you can have the gaming industry. It's so much more sort of variety because there's so many different developers. There's so many different people making games that if you don't like some games, you can try another game or you can go to a different developer. There's so much more choice. Whereas with Hollywood, it's basically you've got your Disney, you've got your Sony, you've got like 4 or 5, Warner, a couple of others, and that they're sort of the big boys in control everything.
And then if the smaller movies want to do a movie, unfortunately, then they have to go cap in hand to these bigger studios to help all it. And you always notice at the start of a movie, you see all the smaller studios come up one after another that are helping with this movie. Like, a lot of them will go bankrupt, like the studio behind, the Sonic the Hedgehog movies went bust. Like, you know what I mean? So it's not always a great thing to be part with a big company because the big companies don't give a shit. Like, you know what I mean? All they care about is it's ridiculous. But anyway, will we move on from the game unless PD has anything to say about the game? And
not really, not at the moment.
So yes,
oh yes. Did you hear about Anita Sarkeesian?
Oh yes.
Oh dear, she's shut down a little non-profit, hasn't she? And done a runner.
For people who don't know, Anita Sarkeesian had a little company, and it was a company called Feminist Frequency.
That's the one.
Yeah, I remember them very well. And I had a run-in with them. What about them?
Oh, don't worry, no, they're gone now. She's done a runner. She shut the company down. She's done a runner because she got caught.
She got caught. What?
She just
What am I
got
missing?
she got caught. I think because she's full of BS. I check out Tant Dankins' video. Done a great video on it, but she's just shut everything down. I think she's
Hang
just
on,
done
you
too
mean
much
to
damage.
tell me that she was a con artist parading as a
Yep.
feminist all of these
Pretty
years?
much.
And
Pretty much. That's what Dank said in his video. So pretty much, she's been called out. She's been called out, and she's doing a runner now. And I think that's
yeah,
all
they went
because.
after Stephen Moffat in a very big way because of Karen Gillan, her Amy Pond wearing the short skirts, and they accused them of sexism. They actually did a lot of podcasts in relation to Stephen Moffat and their hatred of him.
Yeah.
She was gaming. She came about because she did a series on YouTube, basically in her eyes had decrying the state of female characters.
That's the one.
Right.
And to be fair, she did have some good points. That sometimes, the female character in a game would sort of not have a lot to do. They would be reduced a little bit. But the problem was she had a good point, but then she went too ridiculous with the claims.
Yeah.
And she then, the problem is because she was, and you could tell this was talking, a non-gamer very clearly talking about games. It came across, didn't it, PD, in the videos?
Yeah, I'll put the links to the video in the chat, but it's funny. The thing about it is, I think this is all to do with what Elon Musk has done on X, or I keep wanting to call it Facebook. Sorry, YouTube. Sorry, what is it? Twitter.
X.
That's the one. It's X now, though, isn't it? It's X.
Yeah, X.
I think
just say X.
She's got too many skeletons in her closet, and now people are probably going to come after her and sue her with Elon backing them up. And I think she's just done a runner now, pretty much, right down the street. But
because the thing is, she got into a lot of game companies because she was seen as like the sort of she's the popular feminist. And they all got scared, didn't they, PD? We haven't got enough female leads in our games. We haven't got enough this, and she was banging on about it.
Yeah, Druckmann bent the knee to her, big time.
Yeah.
That's why Last of Us 2 was terrible.
Do you know what? These people, I always say this, and I think most of us know anyway, a lot of these people always end up in either frauds or they end up having a lot of skeletons in their closet. Or, you know what? It's kind of nice to see the downfall of these people, because I'll tell you why. That particular feminist, so-called feminist group, and there was a lot of them, especially in the fandom that we're all in, that were very nasty and had no problem calling out people that they didn't agree with. They've done a lot of damage, actually. Yeah. And they actually influenced some of the stuff that Stephen Moffat started putting in his show to appease these women, right? Like the feminist front, these idiots are gone, and I think it's beautiful to see this modern day feminism is toxic. It's a danger to women, but not just women, us men as well. I mean, I've literally had conversations with men who say to me, and we've even had people in the chat here say they're afraid to even go and talk to a woman now.
Yeah.
You know,
it's dangerous to everyone.
They might like to, because they don't want to, get into trouble, because that's the society that they want. They want us men to fear them. I think that's absolutely disgraceful and disgusting.
Yeah.
And they've done a lot of damage. So it's nice. I love hearing when they get their comeuppance, and this is a long time coming. The feminist front was obviously dealt with ages ago. They just fell off the face of the planet as soon as it was Jodie Whittaker was gone, because again they were actually targeting YouTubers and putting up their information all over the place, in some cases doxing people to get these people to shut up talking in a negative way about who. So they've done a lot of damage in the fandom that we're all involved in, and there's still a lot of them in the fandom. But I think the tide is I would say I'd say the tide is turning in society, but definitely not in the Doctor Who fandom, because what's to come. And I'm not saying anymore.
I think the problem is, and Anita was also a part of this in gaming. She was part of this push that okay, you want more interesting female characters in games. Nobody's against that. Maybe we do need sometimes to have a female lead, which would make stuff different. Okay, but like I said, she took it to the extreme.
Yeah.
And her extreme was, okay, you want a female lead. Okay, so she can't be sexy because that's bad. She can't have any sort of attractive qualities whatsoever because that's what's that saying? Masculine eye for the masculine view.
Male gaze.
Yeah, that's it, for the male gaze. She was constantly going on about that, and like it quickly became, okay, more women as your characters, more diverse. But it wasn't that, because it became very quickly, no, a woman has to be like this. She has to be written like this. She can't have these traits. So it became basically what I say as female characters that basically are written like blokes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because
blokes with tits, as I called them.
Well,
sorry, but
PD, you can. I'll talk about it, and you can talk more, because I know with The Last of Us 2, there was a character called Abby in that game, which Druckmann, after the game came out, because there was a load of backlash, he basically admitted he was heavily influenced by Anita when he wrote Abby. And Abby was this masculine, violent, horrible piece of work of a character. And it was like, you could tell on purpose, she was everything anti-traditional female. And that's what he wrote to appease Anita. He even basically didn't PD come out and say that.
Yeah. It did. He came out and said how great it was and how great it was for his daughter and all this, and we got to have more kind of really strong female leads and all the usual stuff they always say, and it just made this horrible kind of like female Arnold Schwarzenegger with a bad attitude. It's like, well, that's not normal, you know.
But it was more, wasn't it, PD, that she was just a reprehensible character?
Yeah, she was disgusting. And in the end, I mean, have you seen the ending? I mean, there was a chance for, was it Ellie, who was the main protagonist, to kill her. And then she all of a sudden, I don't want to kill her now. God, I would have snapped her neck twice. I turned it right round.
Whereas, I don't mind spoiling this, because this is what, in the second game, really ruined it.
Yeah.
Basically, in the opening of the second game, Abby, quite ruthlessly and quite disrespectingly, kills Joel, who was Ellie's father figure in the first game.
Yeah, with a 9 iron.
She does it in. He's literally taken out like a dog. It's horrible. And then Druckmann had that as Abby, and there was even a moment where Abby didn't do it, but a character that suspiciously looked like Druckmann, the model, literally spat on Joel's body.
Yeah.
And Neil was like, oh, and that's the character now. And then later on in the game, he wanted you to sympathise with Abby and to feel sorry for her plight and to sort of almost root for her, didn't he, PD?
Yeah, pretty much. That's what pretty much happened. That's how everyone just turned on it. They were just so sick and tired, you know. But their favourite character from the first game just getting murdered. And the way it was done, it was disgustingly done. And it was by this character they wanted to love, and she was just a demon, just walking. And later on, when she's going to get killed by the tribe, I would have just left her and say, "Oh well, you reap what you sow," and walked away. But then she got Ellie cut her down, and then they had a massive fight, and it's like, why? She loses her finger.
It's going to be interesting, because HBO's done one season of a show based on the first game.
Yeah.
And it got quite well received. But they've said, haven't they, PD, don't know if you call, they're gonna do the second game.
Yeah.
And it's like, how on earth are you going to do this Abby character?
Can't wait till Pedro gets one in the face from a golf club.
Do you think they'll do that though? Do you think?
No,
because
they'll change
I
it.
also read somewhere that he actually did say that maybe the second series wouldn't follow the second game. So there's two conflicting reports there, because I remember we did it on a Friday Night Contact a couple of months back. There's two conflicting. I think there's two conflicting reports, because one of the other reports is saying that it won't go the way the second game.
Please.
In fairness, I think the TV show should go in its own direction. I think it should, and I think fans would be happy with that. You still have the crazies that have the second game that love that scene. You know what I mean? That probably sit in their mammy's basement. You know, I won't say what else they're probably doing when that scene is on, but they're not playing the game. Maybe with them. I won't say. But you know what I mean?
What I've got a feeling they might do, I think they'll have to have the character, but if they've got any smarts, they will actually show her for what she is, a monster.
Yeah.
That was the major problem in the game, that Druckmann presented her in this light and then didn't actually condemn any of her actions.
Yeah, it's just like turning around and saying Adolf Hitler, oh, he was misunderstood. It's like,
Yeah.
no, that's what it's about. Like, no, he's a warmonger.
So you can have her have this. You could even at a push, and I'm saying at a push here, have her kill Joel. But I think if they did it like maybe near the end of the series, and like I said, actually had
build up the tension during the season, build it up so it doesn't have the impact that it did when they did it in the second game. I mean, they could go about it that way, but let's be honest, they'll probably go the way you all expect it to go.
Yeah.
But how they're going to do that particular scene and get away with it for TV is going to be an interesting watch, and an interesting reaction from people as well who know the games, because
cameras are going to cut and it's going to come back. Oh no, he's dead.
I mean,
but like I said, all that you said, PD, have her do it and have Ellie just absolutely go ballistic on her.
Yeah, that's it.
Like she should have in the game.
Yeah, so I didn't understand the end of The Last of Us 2. It's like, Ellie would have killed her. No, if they parts of Ellie.
Because throughout the game, she was killing all of Abby's group with no issues whatsoever.
It gets to the last one. Oh, I'm going to free you. Then they have a fight. Oh, you bit off my finger. I'll let you go, though. It's like...
Even though I killed, like, your partner quite, like, with no issues. Literally, she was backed in a corner, no weapons, nothing to defend her, and I'd
be wearing a partner's face as a mask when I killed her, if it was me. After what Abby did, it's like, Jesus, don't make it. The psychology at the end of The Last of Us Part 2 made no bloody sense.
I think what he was trying to do, PD, but he did he got Anita in his ear, he got too full of himself, Druckmann as well. I think what he was trying to do was this idea of revenge makes revenge, that's the cycle, the sort of vicious cycle idea. But the problem is,
the blind,
if you're trying to do that vicious cycle, you can't then say, well, that's why it's okay then for this character to get away with it. No, you still condemn the actions of your characters.
Yeah.
It's not a pass.
Yeah. It was a bad story to begin with, I think. Totally. My honest opinion.
But no, that's, to be fair, I'm very intrigued how they're going to do the season 2.
Yeah.
Because
I just want to see Pedro get clubbed.
You do.
I don't like Pedro Pascal.
I think he gets a bit of stick because he comes out with some nonsense, but I think as an actor, he's actually a decent actor.
All right.
I think a lot of people will enjoy. Listen, there's no way they'll get away with that. By the way, there's no way they're going to do that. I mean, it'll be a full blown fucking riot.
I know, because he's a communist. Even though
Seriously,
he
man.
escaped a communist country, became a
I
communist.
just don't know how you can get how you're going to be able to get away with doing that on screen without anybody having a reaction to it. If there is no reaction, then it just goes to show you that we actually live in a sadistic world.
Yeah.
You know, people don't mind dead bodies being spit on and stuff. Like, you know, that's just the ultimate disrespect. But look, there'll be people that'll be loving this and will want this to happen. I just, you know, I just don't see it. I don't. But stranger things have happened in Wokeland,
Yeah.
so let's see what happens. But
well, like I said,
yeah.
but also HBO is part of Warner, and Warner is seemingly mostly actually wising up. It looks like.
Yeah.
Well, they need to. They all need to. All the studios need to. You need to wise up now before it's too late. Or, as I said,
Yeah.
Hollywood burns and dies, and then it's left to fans themselves. Then and fans are ready. Fans are waiting in the wings. They're just waiting.
Look at the bright side, like
and some fans are already unleashing their stuff. A lot more of these fans that starting off small now as the years go on, the news keep fucking up, the better they get and the bigger they get, and before you know it, then you might get surpassed, and maybe that's the best thing. Maybe we need more fresh blood in the industry. But go on, PD.
But look at the bright side. Looks like we won Gamergate in the end, so that's one win for us.
Well, they're still bitching and moaning about that.
Oh, they always will. They always will. Just mention this, but just mention this moment. Just go. Oh, where's Anita? Where's Anita? Where's she gone? Where's she gone?
Anyway. There'll probably be somebody new to take her place.
Oh yeah, she have a little minion.
There's always some new gobshite that's more worse than the previous gobshite. Remember that, right?
Yeah.
They always have someone else to replace them. Right.
Be the jester. Always be the court jester, won't it? If you ever played, what is it, Overlord? If anyone ever played Overlord, it's always a court jester.
So fuck them anyway.
Also, PD, what do you think of this? Because also last week, literally as we were live, Disney was having its quarterly report.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not kidding. I'm paraphrasing a little bit because I can't remember the exact quote. But Bob Iger decided to say he's going to personally make sure the quality of the films are better.
Yeah. Did you hear he's being sued at the moment?
Meanwhile, your main actress, who's starring in Snow Latina, is going around bitching and moaning and tanking the movie before it even comes out.
Isn't that?
I mean, someone in the PR department at Disney, right? I mean, what are you doing, you bunch of morons? Why isn't someone telling that woman to shut her fucking mouth? Every time she opens it, she's being a hypocrite. People have resurfaced interviews that she's done where she's talking about the total opposite of what she's talking about today.
I know.
Listen,
crazy.
Your movie was going to suck anyway because we seen the promo photos. They were going to suck anyway.
And no dwarfs.
Right, no dwarfs for you. You had a token one. You had one token dwarf. And then on top of that, instead of getting a woman with pure white skin, you decided that you were going to diversify the role and give it to someone that you shouldn't be giving the role to. It's the bottom fucking line. If you want to do a Latina lead story, well, then you do a Latina lead story. Simple as fucking that. And if you don't have one in your archives, then you create new ones. You know, that's how you do it. You don't give me hand-me-downs, right?
Just a minute.
But
doesn't this go against trading standards rule because she's not Snow White?
Well, you can't call it Snow White. It should be Snow Diversity Hire and the seven non non-little people.
The 6
Right.
normal people and the one
Right,
dwarf.
and the way she's been talking, Snow White is not going to be Snow White anyway. Snow White doesn't need no man.
Oh,
Right?
have you heard the latest? She called Prince Charming a stalker.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Prince Charming Prince Charming is a stalker, and she doesn't need to be
romance.
rescued.
It's called old traditional fairy tale romance where the prince saves the princess.
Yeah. So I'll be talking about this on Friday because, like, you know, she's a good topic to talk about. But all I'll just say is if you know, she's canned this movie before it's even being released, and it's not a shame because Disney shouldn't be doing live action movies of their animation. It's pure laziness anyway. You know, we want new stories. You know, that's what Disney is famed for, giving us new stories every time, not going back and going through the catalogue because you've got nothing better to fucking do. Like, Wise Up, the company is going down the tubes right now, and the lead actress of your main big movie that's come out is killing it. So, like, well done. Congratulations.
But like I said, I find it hilarious that Bob Iger is now having to state he's going to make sure his films are better quality.
They're going to be worse. They're going to be worse.
I mean, if the CEO of the biggest so-called company comes out and says, "Oh, don't worry, we're going to make sure now," as you said, that the quality is going to be better, then my question would be, so you're actually admitting what you've thrown out the last 5 or 6 years is absolute rubbish? So do you want to apologize to all of those fans that Kathleen Kennedy and others in that were running these franchises were coming out and calling fans, you know, saying fans were wrong, fans were bigots and all? So do you want to apologize because you've literally admitted that you haven't been good enough? Well, I'm going to tell you something, Bob. Right, Bob. The fact that they brought you back, Bob, is shocking. But anyway, Bob, here's the deal. It's game over, mate.
Yeah, pretty much.
You've lost your audience. So you got to go back to basics. But it's going to take you a couple of years to get the company back to where it was. But you won't be there. You'll lose your job.
He's got to go.
So, like, just look, you're better off just standing down now. I know nobody wants the job, but that's where you've ran it. You've ran it into the ground along with Kathleen Kennedy at Lucasfilm. I mean, you know, you deserve it. It's sad because I like Disney, but it's sad. But you know what? No sympathy. No sympathy. You've been calling your customers racist for the last couple of years and stuff, all because they want the source material to be respected, but instead you want to go down this diversity hand-me-down route, and it is diversity hand-me-down route. You could actually do proper stories for these people that you want to with all this diversity nonsense that just go on about anyway, but you could do proper stories for them, original stories, but you choose to take the lazy route, and you deserve it. You deserve it. Nothing saving Disney now. I mean, Little Mermaid has canned, no matter what people have said. It's panned, it's done, you know.
Oh, they're admitting now, Noel. They're now finally admitting that was a flop.
Yeah, it's a flop, right? So that's a flop. They had another movie that actually was pretty good, but it's flopped because it's part of the Disney brand. It doesn't matter now. It's gotten to a point with Disney, right, that no matter what they make now, even if it actually is half decent, right, it's not going to get the credit that it deserves. Fans have just had enough. It's game over. So, you know, as I said, no sympathy for the people that ran the company into the ground, but it is a shame that the Disney brand, you know, that we grew up with has been dragged through the mud like this, because, you know, there's plenty of countries out there with plenty of rich culture and stuff and stories that you can tap into rather than going down the lazy route. But they'd rather go down the lazy route because they want to make quick bucks, and they don't care if the movies are actually good quality or not. once they've gender swapped the role or race swapped the role, that's all that matters to them. It doesn't matter if the quality of the movie is actually shit. Once you've ticked that box, that's it, rather than giving them stories that they actually deserve. And people like us would actually get behind them because it's new, it's original, it's fresh. These left wokies just don't get it. Nobody's saying we don't want to see more black people on screen. Nobody's ever said that. What we want is original stories.
Yeah.
We don't want stories that we grew up with being handed to these people when there's stories out there that you could write for them, rather than go down the lazy route.
It's
So
like Disney used
Disney
to take
deserves it.
chances. That was the thing.
They are chances. Yeah, they've gone from taking chances to being complete chances now, aren't they? Pretty much.
Are you doing toast?
No, but it's
I'll have a couple.
It's like PD. So what's your response to Bob then saying that?
I pretty much think he's lost the plot. He's lost it. You've got to step in and say that. I mean, you heard recently, apparently he's getting sued by someone on the board. That's how
I know
bad
there
it's
was
got.
I've not looked into where the sues come from, but I know they're getting sued.
Yeah, they're getting sued by it's the latest news. But it's just, if you've got to stand and say, I've got to like oversee everything now because nobody's getting it, then it's like, he's a guy who put everyone in that place in the first place, if you know what I mean. Getting tongue tied because I'm saying place too much. But yeah, it's like, why? Why are you turning around saying this after you've done this? And Bob Iger was just like a figurehead for him. Sorry, Bob Chapek was just a figurehead for him. And he's come back saying, I'm going to do this, that, and the other, and he's just messed everything up. I think he's got to go. Personally, I just think he's got to go.
Yeah, and it's also funny. Like in the same report, the one positive, they had a couple of hits. Obviously, they could talk about because they went through the sort of the released and the bombs, and one of them wasn't even one of their own. It was Avatar.
Oh yeah.
Avatar 2 did really well for them.
Yeah,
that was a Fox movie.
Yeah, it was a Fox movie. It's the only brand that they do it with Fox and doing anything for.
And like they'll probably have a good hit. When's Deadpool coming out? That'll probably do well because it's Deadpool.
Yeah, Deadpool 3.
Well, that looks like it's delayed. So God knows when that comes out.
Oh, when's it going to be delayed to?
Oh, that's a shame.
Because
right,
because of the writer's strike, it's delayed. All productions are being delayed. As well, I think the Marvels was supposed to come out sooner, but I think that's November now or something.
Yeah, but that got moved for protection reasons. That got moved, so it got a better choice there. Because I want to see Wolverine. I want to see Hugh Jackman as in that iconic yellow costume.
Oh yeah, I want to see that bit.
I want to see him because.
Oh, you see the promo for it? It's funny.
Do you
want to do that?
Yep. I really love Ryan as Deadpool. I think he's perfect.
Yeah.
And then I've always liked Deadpool and Wolverine whenever they have done stuff in cartoon form or game form because they're opposites and they're brilliant opposites personality-wise.
I'll say this: I didn't like Ryan Reynolds until I saw Deadpool, and I thought he was freaking magnificent.
Because he's perfect, isn't he, PD, for the role? Yeah. It's like his role.
He's arrogant enough to play Deadpool.
He's one of those actors, you either love him or you hate him. And I think a lot of people hated him before Deadpool. But then, obviously, because he was in mostly romantic movies, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was
before. Yeah. And then he gets this role. Well, he wanted this role. We know he's wanted this role for a long time. And he is Deadpool. There's no other Deadpool. I mean, nobody else can play Deadpool. That's it. Yeah. As soon as he's too old to play it, leave it alone. Yeah. Don't recast it. It's done.
I think that's why Hugh's come back because they can't recast Wolverine because he was so good. No. He's especially because he came out of nowhere. He was like this theatre actor who hadn't done a lot of big movies. And then he got Wolverine, and then his career blew up because he was just. I didn't think, because I didn't watch it loads, but I watched some of the X-Men cartoon when I was a kid.
Oh yeah,
the 80, the really and I didn't think anybody could beat Steve Blum, who's the voice in the cartoons, because I thought, nobody's going to get the nobody's going to have to beat that sort of gravelly, grouchy sort of old man. But Wolverine, he just did it, Jackman. He just blew it away.
92 it started.
Yeah, it's that one. So that was
That's
my
the one,
Wolverine.
yeah.
I was like, oh, you can't beat that. And then I watched that first X-Men movie, and I was just like, oh wow, you did. You actually...
Wow, you nailed it. Yeah.
So I just want to see him and Ryan, and even that video was perfect when they announced it. When he was...
Sorry, have you seen the preview shots with the Fox logo rotting in the background?
Yeah. That was a funny little promo.
But I love the fact that Ryan was just like, oh, and I tried to like find my inner self and what I could do, and nothing. And then Jackman just walks past. Hugh, do you want to be Wolverine again?
Yeah, whatever.
Like... Oh, perfect.
I can't wait for that one. I think June 2
So that's probably the
one.
next hit Disney's going to have.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else.
Yeah. I just can't wait for that one. I can't wait for June 2 in that one. That's one of the things I can wait for at the moment. Sorry, can't wait for at the moment.
It's crazy it's taken them this long to have Wolverine in a Deadpool movie, but I'm just so like, yeah.
He's been slagging him off over the last two.
But that's why it's also brilliant, because he has been the butt of the joke.
But the fact that Ryan Reynolds was able to convince Hugh Jackman to come back and play Wolverine after he said he wouldn't play it again is a testament to Ryan Reynolds. But the two of them being taking the piss out of each other for years on social media, and it's been, the banter and the ribbon. So I think it's great. I agree with you. I can't wait to see the two of them in a movie together. But the problem is now with this writer's strike, like everything, and there is actually, I don't want to talk about it. I'm not going to bring it up, but someone in the on Twitter there sent me a screenshot, and apparently the show that I don't talk about anymore is also delayed.
Oh, but what, shooty stuff?
Mm-hmm. And apparently, your one that's in the 60th anniversary will be joining Shooty as well for series 14, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, getting down to
sorry, I'm down.
Yeah.
Who's joining?
Finney.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say this, though, all this hoo-ha about Russell T Davies. I mean, literally, I did some research. Just literally go back at the definitive edition of Queer as Folk, watch the special features. Russell is just as bad in the special features of that DVD that he is at the moment with Doctor Who. It was so bad that even Stonewall hated him back then, and the gay community. So it's like,
Oh, Chris, I didn't know that. So I didn't know it wasn't Steve Blum. Oh, I thought it was who voiced Wolverine in the animated.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
By the way, also Series 15 apparently is delayed. So there you go. That's all I'm doing now. Done.
Small mercies,
I'm pretty sure the YouTubers that talk about it will be talking about the latest news. So look out for their channels. But I'll just talk because I just, yous were there. So
don't worry, Noel. Even Gobby feels the same way as you do now. It's like we're all feeling the same way.
I think it's really become now so much of the entertainment in general has to prove itself before we're willing to give it a chance.
Yeah, or prove itself an ally and get ruined. Yeah.
Yes. Did you watch the musical Star Trek episode? Yes, I'm guessing.
Never again. Even Rabbi turned around and says, I'm only going to watch this series once. I'm never going to watch it again. There's only 2 good episodes in the whole series on to him. It was like the last one and the Lotus Eaters one. But it's like, oh, God, I've never seen something so bad in all my life.
So could any of them actually sing?
They're pretty lip syncing, in my opinion.
Oh, you thought it was, that's bad.
I just thought the whole thing was horrible. It's like, Gundam Klingons. What are you on? Jesus.
Feck off.
I know. Well, it looks like Strange New World won't get past season 3. But then again, Writer's Strike. What a small mercy that is. At the moment. Oh, God, yeah. Please, Terry, come back and do Star Trek Legacy, mate. Please.
I think they'll need something because
Just
I've
make-
seen even people who don't
Just
talk
make
about.
Kurtzman have a little accident or something and just disappear. It's just like, you know,
Hey,
just come
Dave.
back. I know.
PJ,
He just needs to disappear, you know what I mean? You know, just all of a
you
sudden.
can't say that. Fuck's sake. He's only saying it hypothetically there,
Yeah,
Kurtzman.
yeah.
I'm only being
Legal, he's not actually
hypothetical.
being it.
Hypothetically.
Hey, cheer the audience up. We're great. Please, Terry, please. I'll pay you, mate. I'll pay you. Please.
But I tell you what's a shame, and this is coming from somebody who's not a Trekkie, you can obviously add more. Like, from what I can see, the first season got good response, and now it's like they've completely ruined it by doing this musical episode. That I've seen everybody panic, like everybody.
Oh, it's literally like the second season was like, oh, let's pick all the worst episodes, worst scripts we rejected from the first season and do them. And it's like, let's say 2 episodes are really good. I mean, 3 if you include the Klingon one, but that's about it. It's just, what are you doing, guys? And apparently there's a rumor going around, what's his name? Akiva Goldsman hasn't even been in the writer's room for this whole season. So it's like, you know, just people guessing Star Trek.
So you've got people who don't have a clue.
Yeah, it's like pin the nacelle on the Enterprise. You know, that's what they're doing.
Look, as soon as I heard the whisperings about season 2, and I saw people that enjoyed season 1 come out and criticize, I knew it was going to be bad. So I haven't watched it. I'm not going to put myself through that musical episode because personally speaking, if you physically put yourself through that, you deserve to watch it and deserve to suffer. To be quite honest with you. I mean, even the trailer alone for the musical episode should have been enough to not get people to watch the episode. I mean, I saw the trailer and I was like, okay, I'm never watching Strange New Worlds again. I'm done. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to put myself through that. But a lot of you did torture yourselves, didn't you? Because, you know, it's just human nature to just do it so you can bitch and moan about it. How about just like, you know, giving up, right?
Yeah.
Star Wars is dead. Star Trek is dead. Indiana Jones is dead. All the franchises that we love are dead, right? Now, one more thing I'm going to say in relation to the show that I will not talk about. But another BBC presenter has also faced some allegations. The Northern Ireland presenter in Stephen Nolan, right? So if you want to continue to support the BBC, as I said, just come out straight and say it. Don't say you're going to boycott, but I would urge us all, right? Look at Disney. For you people outside the UK, look at the way Disney treats you. Look at what they've done to other franchises. And I would say to you out there, boycott Disney Plus. Do not watch Doctor Who under any circumstances. Now, there are streamers on the other side of the argument who are coming at this a different way and want you to boycott to support the writers. But we don't support the writers because the writers are a bunch of assholes who actually ran this franchise into the ground. So I have no sympathy for any of the writers or any of the people that are out on picket lines. My only concern is how scummy the BBC are and how supporting a scummy organisation like that is wrong. And I have a moral objection to it, and I think everybody else should also. So I would say to people, do not watch Doctor Who on BBC either. I would tell channels out there that cover Doctor Who not to cover Doctor Who during the 60th anniversary or the run up to it, or after the fact, not to cover Series 14, 15 and so on until the BBC either changes an organisation or the organisation is taken down until there are proper people in place that actually care about the organisation. We don't have scumbags running the organisation. BBC is a cesspit, right? And if you think the recent allegations are it, that's just the tip of the iceberg. BBC hasn't changed in any shape or form.
They pretended
it hasn't. Now, I'm not just talking about the show that we used to watch. They have plenty of other shows on BBC that people support, right? And I'm asking you not to support the BBC, right? Because if you keep supporting the BBC, right, that culture is going to continue They're going to continue to indoctrinate your kids. Why would you want to support an organization that's been calling you as a bunch of racists, nutballs for not believing in the climate scam and all of this? Even in the EastEnders, someone put up a clip during the pandemic. They literally had Patrick and two characters in the shop. Patrick was talking about, well, I got the COVID jab, man, and all you non-vaccinators need to get... they're literally coming out, man, right? And berating people on EastEnders because they decided not to get the vaccine, right?
Yeah.
These are the type of people that are running the BBC. So I say enough is enough, man, right? And it kind of is people that are saying to me that they're going to boycott, and I still see them talking about Doctor Who. I mean, it kind of is pissing me off a bit. A boycott is a boycott, man. You stop talking about it. You stop giving it airtime. I don't care that we have a new sonic screwdriver. I don't care that we're gonna, in a couple of days or a couple of weeks, we're gonna get to see the inside. Who gives a fuck what the inside of the TARDIS looks like? Who gives a fuck what the screwdriver looks like? The doctor that you are all supporting for the 60th anniversary come out and supported trans kids. Are you fucking like, what's wrong with you all? He's promoting the mutilation of children. Right? And you've got Jim Monsoon who's joining the show that's come out with their crap and has the same ideology as well. Right? Then you've got the other one, Yasmin Finney, banging on about blah, 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 blah. They bang on about. And now apparently now they're going to be staying on. Doctor Who, right? RTD may not use Doctor Who back in the day. He genuinely cared about Doctor Who, and he did. He was progressive, but he did it in the right way. I don't believe he's going to do it in the right way this time.
He's not.
And I think with all the castings that he's made so far, it's clear what direction this show is going in, folks. Right? And it doesn't really matter if the writing is good. Can you really support that type of ideology going through your show? He's using Doctor Who this time around.
It's a platform.
There is no other way around it. He's already proved. You listen to all the cast, the way they're speaking, right? It's done. They're still using this fam nonsense as well. Nothing's changed, and nothing is going to change. It's going to get worse. So he's got to seriously. Yeah, your fans out there need to make a decision. You either boycott or you support it, and it continues to go down the route it does. And as I said, why would you want to support an organization? Now as I said, another set of allegations have come out against another presenter.
Yeah.
Like how many times, right? How many times did you see them on Blue Peter, right? Blue Peter, kids with drag queens on Blue Peter and all of this, indoctrinating your kids right in front of you. How many times did he have to do that? How many times did he have to drum down your head that you're a stupid cunt for not getting the jab? Right? How many times did he have to tell you that you lose your rights because you didn't? How many times did he have to be how many times do they not have to be neutral for you guys to wake up? Right? They took the side like the American media side and all of this Trump hate, right? Whether you like them or not, BBC and all those other news networks are not supposed to take sides in an argument, but they did. They take the side when it comes to climate as well. They take the side when it comes to this ideology, right? They're not impartial anymore, right? So they've lost the confidence of the public if they're not impartial anymore. So why to God are people still supporting this organization is beyond me, right? Now, as I said, the other side are telling you to boycott because the writers. Fuck the writers, right? But I'm glad they're doing their own little boycott as well, because maybe we'll be able to make a difference this time. This is why I'm saying if we actually have the will and people are actually willing to do it and forget about the numbers on their fucking channels and the views they would get, right? And boycott it, actually do it along with these, right? They don't even know that they'd be helping in another way, even though they've got another reason for doing it, right? But with them boycotting as well and getting people on their side to boycott, They're gonna make. They do. They've made a difference for the last 5-6 fucking years. If we join on top of that, but for our reasons, it's game over. This is it. This is it. This is the defining moment right now. This writer strike has given us an opportunity that we have not had for years. Right? This is it. This is the opportunity right here. So we either take it, grasp it, and do what we can. Or all I'll say is if you continue to bitch and moan about Doctor Who for the next 5-6 years, you don't have a fucking leg to stand on, because you have an opportunity right now, and I mean right fucking now, with them boycotting as well. Right now, we've got the most perfect opportunity to send a fucking message to the BBC that enough is fucking enough. Enough of your bloody cover-ups. Enough of employing scumbags, right? Enough of indoctrinating the fucking public, right? And enough taking fucking sides on arguments. BBC is supposed to be impartial. The news is supposed to be impartial. They're not supposed to take fucking sides. So it's up to you. As I said, you know, we're slowly regaining numbers now. So, you know, I was all doom and gloom last week about how I've tanked the channel. I probably still have, but we're hanging on. But that's what I was willing to do. I'm putting this channel front and fucking center for this, right? Instead of putting, you know, I've got bills to pay, and this channel does help. Sure, no bills are being paid right now at the moment. I can fucking tell you that, right? But that's what I've been willing to do, because that's how strongly I feel about this. And people need to stop talking about this fucking show and stop giving it airtime.
Well, it's all right. We're just helping with that by not actually releasing any news or anything.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, he's not, but YouTubers still find stuff to talk about. We shouldn't talk about this at all. I mean, the Doctor Who magazine was released and everybody was talking. Don't talk about it. Who cares? Who cares? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if they release the. Who cares? Who cares? I mean, we already see. We know what direction. Look, it's. I just feel bad because it seems like I was lied to. Either I was lied to, or at the time there was a genuine effort to save this show. But whatever has happened since then, it's gone completely
Disney,
a different direction. And I think it is Disney. I really do. Yeah. I don't think they have actual, you know, physical input, but I think they're making a lot of suggestions, or putting a lot of pressure on certain people, RTD, Bad Wolf Studios, BBC, to have certain things in it. And that's what we're seeing now with the casting, right?
Yeah.
Yes, the problem is Disney, even when now is their crisis point at the moment, there's no two other ways about it. Like, they need to shift with what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's just like, they only looked like they were making profit in their earnings last week because they fired a load of people, because they cut a load of jobs.
Yep.
They've not made any more money out of actual movies or their streaming or anything.
Yeah, they're completely just cutting back. They're just cutting back brutally. Even in the theme parks, WW Pro's been saying, just cut back, cut back, cut back. It says Disney used to be this kind of like, you know, a cream of the crop kind of theme parks. It cost you money, but you'd get it back in other ways. You don't get anything back now. It's just like a basic theme park.
Yeah, it's this idea, isn't it, PD, of you invest up front and then you get the returns for years and years and years afterwards.
That's it. I mean, Pro said Epcot's an absolute. It's a building site now. It's like that was my favorite theme park as well. When I used to go over there, I've been over there 3 times. It's like my favorite theme park is a building site. Magic Kingdom's losing its magic. It's only MGM Studios and Animal Kingdom now I've got any interest in. It's like the whole busy empire is just collapsing in on itself. It's like Iger Fiddles, it's like Iger Fiddles and Disney Burns. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and anything that makes it a success is in despite of Disney, isn't it? Almost now.
Yeah. I mean, Universal's going from strength to strength at the moment over there. Does WDW Pros reporting? Go check out his site; it's really good.
Well, but that's the thing. Universal knows they've got their properties that sell and make money, and they're not willing to change them.
Yeah. But their attendance is going down because people are waiting for the third Universal theme park that's opening over there. They say, "Oh, can we go to Universal now? No, let's wait a couple of years for the new theme park to open."
Yeah, because that's when all the Nintendo stuff is coming, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what the Nintendo was coming to Florida. Because it's in California at the moment, but Florida one's going to open soon as well.
And I'm telling you, that's gonna be your next big movies. It's gonna be these Nintendo movies. They're gonna be the big
Nintendo.
earners.
The NCU, as I like to call them.
Yeah, but I think we already say by the Nintendo, the Super Mario movie was pretty well done, and even Sony with the Sonic the Hedgehog movies. But again, what'll probably happen, like always happens, there'll be an oversaturation of gaming movies, and they just can't. They overdo it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
They overdo it. We've seen it with, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That new movie is absolutely flopped hard. Yeah. They're just clueless, man. I just,
Brotherless. Yeah.
Again, I just prefer watching classic TV.
I do think the strength Nintendo has is because it's a game company that all these IPs are coming from. What I said before, there's variety there. Definitely Soul, yeah. But I'm just thinking, Nintendo, you've got your fantasy box with your Zelda, you've got your space stuff with Metroid, you've got your just family fun stuff with Mario. That's what I mean. Like, whereas, yes, like for superheroes, they overdid it, but the problem was they didn't diversify while they were doing those movies. They just kept doing the same type of superhero movie. Whereas a Sword and Shield fantasy Zelda movie is going to be very different in concept and setting to Samus in space fighting aliens.
Just a minute, isn't Samus female?
Oh yeah, that's what I can't wait to see the reaction to that.
Yeah.
I meant Sega. Sorry, Nicholas. I meant Sega. Because obviously Sonic the Hedgehog is Sega. That's what I meant. I didn't mean Sony, but you're right. Yeah, Paramount. Yeah, my bad. Well, look, as I said, we'll see. I mean, there's going to be another Super Mario movie, so I will be looking forward to that anyway. I mean, not everything is doom and gloom. They still are making some half decent.
Yeah, some good stuff that comes by.
Yeah, they're just not making it as much as we'd want, but they'll wise up where they're on the verge of collapse now, so they'll wise up. But if there's anything else, guys, you want to add before we finish up tonight, because we're coming up to the 2-hour mark. If there's anything else you want to,
PD, I've said what I want to. Do you want to say anything?
There's not really much to say apart from a Strangely Well Season 2 being a complete disappointment.
What is?
Strangely Well Season 2 being a complete disappointment, but
look, I kind of, even though I was hoping it would be, they'd step it up. We're kind of having a chat, weren't we, and saying, it could go two ways, and it's went the other way as we kind of thought it would. They can't keep doing a good thing, can they? Yeah, that's the sad thing about it. The musical episode. I mean, come on.
Jesus Christ. They never work. You
have
to have a type like Buffy or Xena to pull off a musical episode. You have to have something with a bit of quirk in it,
Look, in fairness, it may have worked. It may have worked if there hadn't been more thought and effort put into it, and it didn't look like an absolute fucking complete shit show. But and again, I seen the clip of the Klingons. I mean, you don't even have them singing as fucking Klingons. So I mean, if you're gonna at least if you're going to do it, we know Klingons do sing. They have their own songs. I mean, that's how you could have fucking done it. You know, you could have had Spock sing a Vulcan song. You know, the Klingons sing a fucking Klingon fucking song because we've heard the Klingons. Well, we've heard Neelix singing with the Klingons. I mean, that's.
But Worf singing Klingon.
And Worf. Exactly, but no. They can't think of those things because they're stupid. Anyway, let's leave it there. Good conversation. I like these conversations, these random conversations. The third Sonic movie begins production soon without any actors, though. Yeah, so they'll probably do the other stuff that they can do without the actors. But, you know, it's all you actors on the picket line. Get up off your arses and get back to work. As for you writers that are on the picket line, I suggest that you actually, you know, learn how to write decent characters and scripts before you go on strike looking for money because you're pathetic. Anyway, let's leave it there for this evening. And let's do our channel shout. It's Universal, he says, not Paramount. Okay, all good. See, we all get confused about the studio. So many. Anyway, let's do our channel shout. So I've got 2 streams on Noel the Red Devil. I am back over the weekend because Manchester United do play. So we'll have the press conference, Eric Ten Hag's press conference, and also the match live reaction, which we stream from 5 o'clock on Saturday. So come and join me for that. And then, of course, on Fridays, we've got the members stream, a preview into Friday night contact. And then Friday, obviously, night, we have the lads. PD will be joining me along with Problem Being, where we'll be discussing Rachel Ziegler, Snow Latina, and many more topics. So come and join us for that. I know a few of you actually like Friday night contact, so thank you for supporting us. We really do appreciate it. So join us for that, and I'll hand you over now to Queen Charlotte and what she has coming up.
Hello, so you'll catch me with Dan and Co on Type 40. We haven't quite got a date yet for when we're back for the live shows, but it will be soonish. Just we haven't set the date. And also you'll catch me now and again on the podcast for Type 40. And then you'll catch me now sometimes with Daniel, Scottish Davos and Friends Wrestle with Pop Culture, when we sort of do our chill, sort of talk about anything type of streams.
Chill streams.
And then you'll catch me here on Wednesdays.
Fantastic. And when everything settles down and I get into me flow, I'm starting to get into a rhythm now. Once I get into me rhythm, I'll be kind of not changing things around, but I will be doing other stuff here. So I'll announce stuff as I can do it. So I won't say anything for now, but I do have plans to do something else. But we'll go to PD now. PD Rich Obama's boy, man. Okay.
That's the latest rumor.
Yeah, well, look, there's been rumors about all presidents, but we won't
I know. Anyway, you can find me on Rabbi for Another Planet's channel in the chat moderating, and sometimes you can find me on Dan's channel, which was already gone in there. And do go and check out both Jack Main and Gobby's channel.
Fantastic. Anyway, let me see. I just want to make sure that I pull the camera out before we leave, so we don't have any second delays. So there goes the camera.
Oh, and do check out WW Pro as well. He's
very good.
Bloody Park lately. I'll put his link in the chat in a second.
Fantastic. Yeah. And as I said, you go ahead and do that. So the channels are in there. Go and check them out. And as I said, I'm on over the weekend, so come and join me. Really do appreciate it. I have 2 streams up on the other channel, Noel the Red Devil. So if you're interested in football, you can go and hear my opinion on Harry Maguire and Mason Greenwood, the disgusting vile little scumbag. So if you want to hear me opinions on those 2, go over to Noel the Red Devil. I've reached 50 subscribers faster than I reached 50 subscribers on this channel. So I'm a bit chuffed about that. But we got to the 50 subscriber mark, so I'm chuffed. And you know, it's been a slow process, but I'm really enjoying it there. So yeah, there you go. The YouTube channels are in there. We will say good night, folks. Have a good evening. And if we don't see you over the weekend, sure, we'll see you whenever we see you. Just stay safe and look after yourself and all of that. And we'll see you back here soon. Good night.
Good night, everybody.